Okay, so welcome back to my channel. For my newest video on relationships and basically why you attract the people you attract and why you just can't ever seem to find yourself in a stable relationship. Because there are reasons behind it. It's not just to do with you. You're not just shit at relationships, and it's not just men are trash or women are trash. There is psychology behind why people are the way they are and why we attract the people that we attract. And a lot of it is to do with our attachment style. Basically, attachment style is the way in which we form intimate relationships, in which we form interpersonal relationships with each other. It's to do with how we are in relationships and how we attract the people that we do attract. It is a psychology related thing, so obviously if you're not into psychology, if you're not into counselling or therapy, then it's not something you'll be aware of. Like, the average person doesn't know what their attachment style is because they wouldn't even think about it. You know, if you don't know it, then you don't know it and you wouldn't think to research on it. But it is really to do with why you can't find the right person. So there are 3 main attachment styles. I'm just going to go through those 3 because there's a few others, complicated names, but we don't need to know that. All you need to know is the 3 main attachment styles, which are secure, anxious, and avoidant. Okay, so people with secure attachment styles, they're stable, they're able to have loving, intimate relationships, you know. They trust their partners, they can be open with their partners, they can communicate well. You know, if something's wrong or if something's bothering them, they can let their partner know what they need and what they want out of their relationship. They're not worried their partner's going to leave them or their partner won't love them. Like, they can handle confrontation, they can handle arguments. And if you have a secure attachment style, then you don't need to change it. Like, you're fine the way you are and you don't need this video unless you still want to watch it. So the second attachment style is anxious or insecure, or there's so many names for it, but we're just going to go for anxious. So the second main attachment style is anxious. And if you're anxious, like me, then you're quite insecure in relationships, you're unsure of if your partner really loves you, you're always thinking if they might leave you, you know, if I tell them how I'm really feeling, then he might leave me, or if I buy him stuff, then he'll stay with me, or if I cook for him, he'll stay with me. Then you tend to be quite a people pleaser in all your relationships, you know, family, friends, boyfriend, girlfriend. You tend to be quite a people pleaser and you're always giving so much of yourself so people don't leave you and people will love you. And, you know, say if your boyfriend or girlfriend goes out, you might be feeling a bit anxious about what they're doing. If they don't reply to your messages, you might start feeling anxious again, like, why haven't they replied to me? Do they not love me? That kind of thing. You get what I'm saying. And then the third attachment style that you need to know is avoidant. Avoidant people are quite dismissive of other people's emotions and also their own. They don't really tend to be in tune with their emotions. They don't tend to know what they're feeling. They find it hard to connect emotionally with other people. In relationships, they find it hard to be quite romantic. They find it hard to be affectionate because they're just not used to it. You know, they don't even know how they're feeling. So how are they supposed to know how you're feeling? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. And ironically, anxious and avoidant people attract each other. They're like fucking magnets. They're just always with each other. Like, all the guys I've attracted in the past have always been avoidant. They're always very dismissive of my emotions. They're always very unemotional. They're very unaffectionate. So this is why I'm saying, like, don't think it's just a you thing. Don't think, oh, why don't boys ever love me, or why don't girls ever love me properly, or why can't I ever find a guy who's affectionate or romantic? You know, we'll see things on Twitter, we see things online like your boyfriend should do this, or your boyfriend should do that, or your girlfriend should this, your girlfriend should do that. But sometimes it's just because you're not with the right person, you're not with someone who's compatible with your style of dating and your style of love. But if you're unaware of this, you'll just think it's you and you're the issue when you're not the issue at all. It's your attachment style, and you just need to change it and change who you go for and who you date. So yeah, I'm going to go on to how we developed these attachment styles. So basically, when you're a child, how you experience love and how you give love to other people is all to do with your primary caregiver. Your primary caregiver could be your mom, your dad, your aunt, your uncle, adopted parents, foster parents, whoever, sisters, brothers, whoever took care of you when you were like a baby. Who was the main person when you needed something, if you needed your nappy change, if you needed to eat, or if you wanted to play, like who was that person in your life that was your primary caregiver? So someone who was secure, their primary caregiver was there for them when they needed them, provided them with the right amount of love and right amount of support and guidance, and just let the baby explore for themselves, but being there when the baby needed them. So the baby grew up being able to trust and love and so on and so forth. Someone with an anxious attachment style, often when you're a baby, your primary caregiver was inconsistent. So sometimes they were there for you when you needed them, like if you needed your nappy change, if you needed a bottle, if you needed to play or whatever, or you needed to sleep, they were there for you at the right times. They knew when to give you what you needed. But other times they weren't there for you. Say they were busy, or they were distracted by another sibling, or they had work, or for whatever reason, they just weren't there when you needed them. So you became anxious as a child. It was like, because it was inconsistent, you never knew if they'd be there for you. You know, they're there for you sometimes, and sometimes they're not there for you. And as a child, you start to worry and you start to think it's your fault. You start to think, oh my God, like, have I done something wrong? Maybe if I was more this, then they'd love me. And you develop those habits into adulthood. So as an adult in relationships, you think, okay, now I'm in a relationship. If I buy my partner this and that, they'll love me. If I give my partner all my time, they'll love me. If I take my partner out, they'll love me. If I cook for them, they'll love me. And often, when it's not reciprocated, you feel like, you know, the person's ungrateful, you feel they're unappreciative, you feel like no one appreciates you, and you just end up being miserable and sad and hurt and unfulfilled in your relationship because they're not giving you the love that you need to feel secure. And then lastly, for the avoidant person, when they were younger, their primary caregiver was probably very dismissive, so they ended up becoming very independent as a child. You know, the primary caregiver might have just been like, oh, you know what, go do what you need to do. Like, they might give the baby their bottle and then just leave the baby to drink for themselves, or give the baby the toys and the baby, you know, go off, go play with your toys, like, leave me alone, that sort of thing. So as a child, they learn to just fend for themselves and be there for themselves. They learn not to open up emotionally to people because it's like, people don't give a fuck about me, people don't care about me, so I'm going to keep things to myself. But just like anyone else, they feel things just as much as the anxious person or the secure person. They still got emotions, they still get upset, they still get sad. They just don't know how to share that with other people. And they don't want to share it with other people because it's like other people might hurt them, like they were hurt when they were younger. So that's how we develop these attachment styles. And because it's a subconscious process that happens when we're little, we don't realise it when we're adults, and we don't understand why we attract the people that aren't good for us. You know, we, like I said, we blame ourselves and we just think, oh, I'm always going for the wrong guys, or what's wrong with me? Like, oh, is it because of this? Is it because of that? Like, am I just not worthy of love? But it's none of that. And you can change it. Like I said, anxious and avoidant attract each other like magnets, but they do not go together whatsoever. Because as you can imagine, let me actually talk through triggers so you can understand why they just don't go together. So often, because an anxious person is always craving and seeking love and seeking approval from their partner, one of their triggers is being ignored. This is one of my major triggers. So when they get ignored, it kind of instills in their mind, and it gives them this idea that, oh my God, that this person doesn't love me, this person's going to leave me. So often what happens, say in the first few hours of being ignored, it's like, okay, it's cool, it's fine. Maybe my partner's busy, maybe they're doing something, you know, they'll reply to me later. You know, like any normal person, this is their thought process. Oh, you know what, they're busy, they'll reply to me later. A few hours pass by and the thoughts start to come. oh my god, like what's happened? Why have they not responded to me? Did I do something wrong? Do they like me? Like, did this happen? Did that happen? Like, what the fuck's going on? Like, why haven't they responded to me? Do they not love me anymore? And again, as time goes on, these thoughts manifest and they become bigger and bigger and bigger, and just until they explode, and then suddenly they're bombarding you with messages, they're calling you 10 times, they become clingy and they cling onto their partner with dear life. And say if an anxious person is dating an avoidant person, the avoidant person will run for the hills. They're like, what the fuck, like why is this person so clingy? Like, avoidant people hate clinginess. They just can't deal with clinginess and over emotionalness because they don't know what the fuck to do with it. So if the insecure person's feeling insecure about their partner ignoring them, they're gonna bombard the partner with messages, and it just doesn't work. Like, if that anxious person was dating a secure person, then maybe 10-12 hours later they reply and I'm like, oh my god, I'm so sorry, I was busy, I forgot to let you know, like next time I'll let you know. And if that's the case, the anxious person will feel reassured, they'll feel better, and they'll be able to move on with their day and carry on as normal. And over time, when an anxious and secure person are together, the anxious person's attachment style becomes more secure over time. If the secure person reassures them, makes them feel loved and makes them feel safe, the anxious person's attachment style will become secure. But if they're dating an avoidant person and that continuously happens, the avoidant person will continue to dismiss them, like, what the fuck, why are you messaging me, why are you always calling me, think what you want to think, believe what you want to believe, if you think I'm cheating then I'm cheating, that kind of thing. And that will make the anxious person even more anxious and even more clingy and even more annoying, and which will just further away push the avoidant person. The avoidant person runs and the anxious person chases them. So you can see how that just doesn't work. And then on the other side, a trigger for the avoidant person is that often in relationships, avoidant people, they can tend to be a bit unaffectionate, unromantic, not that giving, because they don't really know how to do that. They don't know how to be loving, they don't have to be affectionate or romantic. So oftentimes they won't do any of those things that their partner needs. So they won't buy you stuff, they won't take you out, they won't take the initiative. Do you know what I mean? Like, when you're going out with someone, you want your partner to take the initiative. You want them to ask. You want them to message you and ask you out. You want them to buy you things without you having to ask them to buy you stuff. With someone who's avoidant, it won't even come to their head to think to buy you stuff or think to take you out or think to do all these things unless you ask them. So anyway, if that keeps happening, like say over 6 months or something, the avoidant person's dating someone and the other person might suddenly become fed up. They're like, you know what, you don't ever provide for me, you don't ever give me anything, you're so ungrateful. This is the anxious person. You're so ungrateful, you're so this, you're so that, like, I'm done with you, I'm leaving you, I don't want to be with you anymore. That in the avoidant person's head confirms to them their thinking. They think, I was right, I knew they were going to leave me. Like, in their head, they were thinking, oh, I knew that she was going to leave me all along. I knew he was going to leave me all along. I knew I couldn't trust them. This is why I don't get into relationships. And this is why I don't trust people. And you see what happens. So, because they weren't giving the other person anything, the other person eventually gets fed up and they leave. But then the avoidant person doesn't see it that way. They just think, oh my god, I knew they weren't going to leave me. I knew I couldn't trust them. And this is why I don't trust people. But if they're in a relationship with a secure person would know, okay, this person is avoidant. They're not necessarily going to be romantic. They're not necessarily going to give me the love and affection I need, but it's okay because I know it's nothing to do with me. A secure person will know the way they react to me has nothing to do with me. That's their own personal thing. Like, if he doesn't take me on dates, it's fine. If he doesn't buy me stuff, it's fine. Like, that's all right. And a secure person will be secure in themselves enough to know it's nothing to do with them. It's just that the anxious person hasn't learned how to love and be affectionate yet. And then over time, because the secure person's, like, it's alright, like, deal with things in your own time and they're cool with it, the avoidant person starts to become more secure and they start to become more romantic and more affectionate and more open because they realise they can trust this person and this person isn't going to leave them or make them feel bad for being themselves. Because often anxious and avoidant will make each other feel bad for not being what they want. An anxious person wants a emotionally available, loving, caring, affectionate, romantic partner. An avoidant person wants someone to just give them space and give them time to be themselves and just accept them as they are. They don't match each other's needs, so they end up making each other feel bad for not matching each other's needs. And it's just like, just get with the right person to begin with and it wouldn't even be an issue. That's why the best way to fix your attachment style, if you're anxious or if you're avoidant, is to get with someone secure, because you can change your attachment style. Like, your attachment style isn't fixed for the rest of your life. Like, just because you have an insecure attachment style doesn't mean you can't become insecure, doesn't mean you can't become avoidant. It can change over the course of your life depending on what happens to you, so you can fix it and there are ways to fix it. I think, like, in my case, I think it's very easy to say, oh, just be single, don't date anyone, and you can fix it. But it's hard to know if things actually change you when you're single, because I was single for a whole year and I thought my attachment style was good. I was like, I fixed it, like, I'm fine now, I'm not insecure, I'm not paranoid, I'm not clingy. But then as soon as I date someone, it all comes out and I'm like, shit, I haven't changed, I'm still the same person. And then I leave, try work on myself again, get with someone new, and it just happens again. I'm like, why isn't it changing? Like, I'm doing the work by myself, I'm trying to become more secure. When I get with someone, I'm insecure again. And the thing is, you won't know until you try it. You won't know if your attachment style has changed until you're in a relationship. You can't you won't be able to test it not in a relationship. Do you get what I'm saying? So and the reason why these things come up for you is because when you feel safe and you feel secure in your new relationship, all the trauma comes up to the surface. It's just basic psychology. I don't know how the brain works, but basically the brain sees, okay, this person's safe, this person makes me secure, so I'm going to bring up my trauma and I'm going to deal with it, I'm going to heal it, and I'm going to move on from it. And if you are dating someone compatible, if you are dating a secure person, then you'll be able to heal through it and you'll work through it and you'll feel better. If you're dating someone with an incompatible attachment style to you, then it's just going to make you feel worse and it's just going to add to the list of your trauma until you have a massive fucking long list of things to deal with. So it's safe to say, be single, work on yourself, deal with yourself, love yourself, yeah, but you won't know any of that's worked until you've put into practice. And the only ways to practice is to be in a relationship with someone. And I feel the best way to attract secure people is to know what you need, not what you want. If you're going to take anything from this video, just know this. Know what you need, not what you want, okay? And I don't care if it's moist, I don't care if you don't like it, but make a list of your needs, okay? Don't say, oh, I need a 6-foot guy, a guy with a beard, a guy who's funny, a guy who's this. Like, no, like proper secure personality traits, like someone who's good at communicating, someone who is reliable, someone who's consistent, someone who's trustworthy. Those are the things you need, okay? And when you have that list, the next time someone comes into your life, someone that you're interested in, you want to date, if they don't match that list of needs, get rid of them. If they trigger you, get rid of them. If you hear red flags coming up in your head, get rid of them, because it's repeating the cycle. What happens is, in life, you'll keep attracting the same person over and over again. Different body, different height, different location. It doesn't matter where, when, or who it is. You'll attract the same type of person until you've dealt with your previous issues. So if you don't deal with your previous issues, you're going to keep attracting the same guy or same girl, just in a different body. So therefore, keep this list in mind. Know what it is you need from a partner. Know what it is you need from a partner. So next time a guy comes along, and say if, you know, from the first few conversations you realise he doesn't match any of those needs, then you know, okay, bye, you're gone. If he triggers you, if he starts ignoring you, you know, bye, you're gone. I don't need you because you're going to trigger me, and I don't want to be triggered because I want to sort myself out, I want to become more secure. And if you keep doing that and you keep getting rid of the bad ones, eventually a secure person will come along who meets those needs, and there you go, you found your match, you found your compatible person. So stop ignoring red flags. Do not ignore red flags. Do not just get with someone because you're lonely or because they're good looking. Get with someone who fulfills your needs, who makes you feel safe. Get with someone who makes you feel safe and secure and loved. And that is how you will begin to see changes in your romantic relationships. That doesn't necessarily be with the first person that makes you feel safe and secure if, you know, other things don't work, but you will start to become more secure and more centered and more grounded within yourself if you do this. But yeah, that is it. That's all. I didn't want the video to be too long. That is all you really need to know. Like, my videos are really just here to give you sort of like a toolbox of things, like the basic outline, the basic guidelines for how to sort your life out, and then you can go off and do your own research and do your own work and sort your life out yourself. So I'll provide a link down below for figuring out what your attachment style is, and other maybe useful links, I don't know yet. But that's it. So good luck in your search for love, and, you know, message me, let me know how things are going, let me know what you think about the video, and yeah, that's it. I'll see you in my next video.